Good morning, everyone. We have already discussed about the phototropism process, as there are 5 types of the tropic movements. First we have covered. Now second, that is geotropism. What is geotropism? Geotropism means the response of a plant to gravity is called geotropism. Okay. Response of a plant towards the gravity, towards the pull of gravity, is known as geotropism. Here we have taken two situations. In first case, the pot that is present in a normal position, and in the second case it is present in a tilted position. Okay, now what happened in the first case, roots, they will grow downward and stem, they move upward. But in the second, the root, they bends downward because of the pull of gravity. Okay, they will not go straight, they will bend. And the stem also, they will not go straight, means first they will go straight, but after some days they will bend in the upward direction. So in this case also the geotropism is there, but it is more clear in the tilted manner, in the tilted position of the pot. So the roots, they are showing the positive geotropism, and the stem, they are showing the negative geotropism. Why positive? Because the roots, they bend towards the pull of gravity, and stem, they bends upward in the opposite direction of the gravity. So that's why stems, they are showing the negative geotropism, and roots, they are showing the positive geotropism. Now next we will study about the chemotropism. Chemotropism, it means the stimulus here, that is a chemical substance, and tropism means the tropic movement, the movement of a plant part, or the growth or the movement of a plant part. It occurs towards the chemical stimulus, as the tropic movements, they are the directional movement. What do you mean by directional movement? That the growth or movement of a plant part, it occurs towards the stimulus. Okay, in the direction of the stimulus, means from where the stimulus that is applied, in that direction only the growth or movement of a plant part, it occurs. So it happens in each type of the tropic movements, whether the stimulus, that is light, or you can say gravity. Now here the example is chemical substance. Chemical substance that is acting as a chemical stimulus here. So the growth or movement of a plant part due to chemical stimulus is known as chemotropism. Now in this case you can see that this is the female part of the flower. Stigma, style, ovary, and ovary, it consists of ovules. Okay, it consists of ovules. Ovules, it can be one or it can be more than one. So here in this diagram we have shown two ovules, and each ovule, they contain one female gamete. So this is the structure of the female part of the flower. Okay, now pollen tube, we have to discuss about the pollen tube, that how the growth of the pollen tube, it occurs. Okay, the growth of a pollen tube, it is an example of the chemotropism. Now how the growth of the pollen tube, it is an example of the chemotropism. So let's have a look here, that this stigma, this region is known as the stigma. Okay, so after pollination, when pollen grains, they fall over the stigma, then the stigma, they produce a sugary substance. Stigma, they produce a sugary substance, and this sugary substance, it is acting as a chemical stimulus. So when stigma, it produce the sugary substance, then it move towards the style in the downward direction. Okay, now this sugary substance, it acts as a chemical stimulus. Okay, which is secreted by stigma. Sugary substance which is secreted by the stigma, it acts as a chemical stimulus for the pollen tube, for the pollen grain. Okay, so this pollen grain, in response towards the chemical stimulus, it shows the growth of the pollen tube in the downward direction. Okay, and this pollen tube growth in the downward direction, this is known as chemotropism. See again, first of all, after pollination, when pollen grains, they fall over the surface of the stigma, then what will happen? Stigma, they produce a sugary substance, and this sugary substance, it will move towards the style, and it acts as a chemical stimulus for the pollen grain. And how the pollen grain, they show their response? The pollen grain, they show their response towards the chemical stimulus by the formation of the pollen tube towards the style in the downward direction. Okay, and this example is known as the chemotropism.